we have a situation. Here's the situation. The situation is that Xbox absolutely sucks. The plan for Microsoft over these last two console generations doesn't make any sense to me. You came in swinging with the original Xbox. The Xbox 360 absolutely dominated for so long with the Xbox Live implementation. Everybody loved the online gameplay and the ingenuity that came out of the Xbox 360. When the Xbox One came out, there was a few select launch games and most of them were a disappointment. Over the years, there have been a lot of cross-platform games that, though was on Xbox, really didn't bring anything to the table on the Xbox One. And now since the Xbox Series X came out, people are still waiting for the thousands of companies Microsoft has tried to acquire for us to get some exclusive content. So I understand if you, as a viewer, is disappointed in Microsoft, disappointed in Xbox, because that's where I am as a Microsoft and Xbox fan. Back in the day, I would have shouted their name from the mountaintops, and now I'm at a point where I barely even take a second glance at the Xbox library and the Xbox Series X library that we've had over the last couple years. So what I wanted to do is do a callback in this video to some of the greatest gems in my eyes that were on the original Xbox. We got to thank Xbox for some of the cool stuff that came out. These are awesome exclusives that came out for the original Xbox, and I believe this console is on the verge of having a glow up. We are about to see the Xbox be collected for like mad as we are in that 20-year mark of its release. Please stick with me, my friends, and let's go over, what do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, like any YouTube video should be. 10 gems that you guys should have for the OG Xbox. All right, first up is a game that was made by Rare. These are the same guys that did Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie, and that came out on the original Xbox. That's an exclusive, and that is Grabby Ghoulies. It is set in kind of a haunted mansion. A little boy runs in there and ends up having to beat his way out of all of these levels. I believe there's over 100 different levels in all of these rooms where it's literally a beat 'em up where you're grabbing anything you can within the room to literally just smash and destroy these various like ghosts and goblins and evil creatures. Grabby Ghoulies is still to this day a really fun entry on the Xbox. It is one that I highly recommend people get a chance to play. Again, nod to Rare. They made some really interesting titles, and this is one that just never took off, even though it probably should have because it was so unique. So Grabby Ghoulies is our number one. Next up is a crazy game of being attached to one another, and that is Whiplash. You play as a weasel and a rabbit that are in an animal testing facility having terrible experiments done to them, and they are chained together. Their job is to break out of this facility in any means necessary. So you are doing stealth missions, you are doing fun action missions against a lot of the security guards and puzzles to get out of this crazy laboratory. And the only way to do that is to throw around your rabbit friend on a chain. There's various moves that you're able to do and upgrade with the rabbit. Anything from blowing it up as a balloon to fly around to swing it around like a helicopter. It is a very unique and interesting game, and is one that when I first started playing it, I remember having a smile on my face because it was so absurd. It has that 90s, early 2000s joke style humor, and also just kind of a cool art aesthetic as well. So Whiplash is one that I think is a gem on the Xbox that people should run out and grab. In doing this gyms video, I ended up playing a lot of the original Xbox and found that there was tons of mech games on the original system. And though this one isn't officially a mech game, it feels that way in its design. This one is Gun Valkyrie by Sega. You can play one of two characters. They are in kind of a mech flying robot, and they are traversing linear levels where they're taking out various enemies and bugs and those types of things. They're essentially just trying to save the planet from annihilation. That's always kind of the goal of these stories, but this one has a really, really cool mechanic on how you fly, how you track, how you're able to shoot the enemies, and being able to go between the two characters makes it really fun too. The missions essentially are set up for you. After you acquire what you need to, or you destroy what you need to in the game, you get to move on to the next mission. But Gun Valkyrie, again, has a very cool aesthetic, and it kind of goes back and takes that nod to those mech games that we love, where this is essentially kind of an exosuit that's worn by these characters. So check out Gun Valkyrie. It could be one that you enjoy. So after the Nintendo 64 Wave Race happened, we all loved jet skiing. You can't deny that it was such a fun experience. And then Nintendo came out with their sequel, but at the same time, Xbox tried to go after that love for jet skiing as well with Carve. Now, Carve is an interesting game, only because it definitely has all of the Wave Race feel to it, but it feels more grown up and mature. Not only are the water effects absolutely amazing, water is also like splashing on your camera. It has really good soundtrack. A lot of people though have always passed on this one because jet skiing isn't necessarily something we love to grab as a game. But I will say Carve is one of them that probably deserves a nod to that whole Wave Race fad that happened. And Xbox took their shot at it and it wasn't terrible. So if you guys get a chance, play it. It does play exactly how you think a jet ski game would play, but it just has a lot of fun elements. The character designs look good. The water effects look awesome for the Xbox, and I think it's worth it. Next up came out of left field for me. I was throwing in some games that I thought would be absolutely awful, and I came across Special Forces Nemesis Strike. You're essentially one of two characters that are part of a terrorism task force, and these characters have different abilities. One has the ability to parachute and skydive into various activities and the things he needs to do. The other one is like a bomb expert, and it has some really unique elements in the game that I actually ended up finding to be kind of interesting. You know, the bomb and the grenade throwing, anything from the third-person action shooting mechanics as well as the skydiving all became like a really intricate part of the gameplay. You know, again, you're kind of sent these covert missions that you have to go handle as one of these two like ragtag characters, but Nemesis is one that I kind of was pleasantly surprised with. So if you guys get a chance to try that one, I highly recommend that this could be one of those like offbeat games that you find yourself enjoying. And it was published by Hip Games. Never heard of them. I have no idea the development of this game, but it's mature for blood and violence. So just know this could be a serious one. Next up is a point and click adventure that I did not know existed. This is called Still Life. The back of the box is one of those games where I looked at it and I was like, those graphics look way too good for the Xbox. What's going on? And so when I popped the game in, I realized how this gameplay worked. It is essentially a point and click adventure, but it doesn't feel that way. You move around your character. She is a detective. Her job is to solve crimes as a CSI. In this though, one of your first missions, someone is dead in a bathtub and you have to move around the apartment to find clues. You end up taking samples, prints, various things to try to figure out what's going on, and the story becomes more and more intricate and disturbing as it goes on. But really what took me back was how beautiful this game actually looks. Still Life is definitely one of those that has fun mechanics, really cool puzzles, but at the same time that point and click adventure that you may enjoy. And the pacing doesn't seem too off either. Everything seems pretty innate on how to use it. So you get a chance to try Still Life. I think it's an absolute wonderful game. The next one up, I'm not going to talk in detail about because I feel like a lot of people have talked about this, but it deserves to be on the list, and that is Namco's Breakdown. Breakdown is a first-person shooter based game where you do have supernatural elements. So you're able to gain these abilities to knock out these people in this facility. Not only does it have kind of a fun story to it, but it also has just like a really good pacing to the game. Very unique. The powers that you acquire allows you to get stronger and stronger, and you end up being kind of this like demigod towards the end as you're taking people out. So great first person shooter slash puncher slash magic game. Hopefully that makes sense. Breakdown's a really fun one as well. I have one more first-person shooter game on the list, guys, and that is Shadow Ops Mercury. Now, I will say, when I looked at this game, I thought it was El Generico. It didn't seem to have anything special about it. You know, the back just looks like a normal shooter of its time where they were just pumping them out. But I have to tell you, this is, realistically, aside from Halo, one of the best first-person shooters on the console. Shadow Ops, you are running missions out, and I believe it is the Middle East if I'm not mistaken, but this has actually been created via like a full movie film script, like a 90-minute film adaptation with character dialogue, with great storytelling, and then the sound design is absolutely incredible, especially for the Xbox time. Anything from the effects, anything from how you actually maneuver your character in this first person, all kind of blew me away for it being original Xbox timeline, and no one ever talked about this game. Shadow Ops Red Mercury, it was awesome. Atari published. Try it. It can't be more than like $10 now. But again, all of this stuff I can see shooting up, but give Shadow Ops a shot if you like the first person feel. The music's awesome, the sound effects are great, and the gameplay is rad. The next one up is a game from Majesco, Raises Hell. The bad guys are actually nice little puffy, lovey creatures that end up being evil, and they try to take over these creatures' lands, and Reyes is one of those creatures who goes and defends his people by taking out all of these cuddly creatures. It has a really fun third-person shooter mechanic. You are literally traversing all of these levels, taking out all of these creatures, upgrading your weapons. It has a really cool, unique art style. It has a fun story, but Raises Hell is definitely one that is worth it on the original Xbox, and one that nobody ever talks about. All right, friends, last on the list for the OG Xbox, the nod to when games were good on the Xbox, is Voodoo Vince. This is an action platformer where you are a voodoo doll that has been given life and has to go save the world. Does it sound goofy? Absolutely. It is based in Louisiana around that whole voodoo culture. You've got this whimsical level feel where your job is to go not only take out the enemies, but also solve puzzles to get through the various levels. Voodoo Vince is very fun at heart. The dialogue is very over the top, and it is one that I highly recommend as well for the original Xbox. If I'm not mistaken, I think they did a remake on this one as well for Voodoo Vince. So if you can't play it on the original Xbox, there is another way to play it as well, and it might be available on PC. So, original Xbox. If you never had one, those are the 10 games I think that you should try if you're not going to play kind of your originals like Halo. The kind of eclectic feel on all of those games feel all very different. The variations of the gameplay, the style, the mechanics kind of will keep you going for a while. And I think that the Xbox deserves a little bit more love than it normally gets. I feel like the PlayStation 2 is all that's talked about in that era, and obviously GameCube was on the king of the mountain now as nostalgia, but the Xbox deserves some of that love. So check those 10 games out, guys. If you want any other gems, I've got tons of other videos that I've done on games that I enjoy, as well as the 6 essentials per console, which we are always working on new ones for that. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you enjoy my silly content, please hit the subscribe button if you'd like more videos like this, and hit me a comment in below what your favorite original Xbox game was. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.